Call meeting to order for Public Works Committee. Agenda is 5:30, Wednesday, July 12th. Present is Brandon Crone, and Amy and Bob and Chuck. And looks we had one person on the line. Absent is Caleb. He's attending another function here tonight.
Chamber of Commerce,
Chamber of Commerce.
Met
function.
Gala.
So let's stand and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. June 14th, Public Works minutes.
Had a chance to review the minutes. Everything seems to be in order. Brandon Crone moved to, are we accepting?
You're approving.
Receiving,
Receiving or move to approve,
receiving
move to receive
the minutes,
the minutes
or are
for,
we approving them?
I thought we were approving them. That's
So
what
we
they
approve them and
decided.
they receive them. The board receives them.
we'll just approve them. And then
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll approve them and just so they're double.
That's fine. They approve, but I know
I'm
the
gonna,
board receives them.
I got the training. I'm gonna look through it.
Second,
Bring it up.
motion made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Public comment.
Nobody's in there.
Anybody online who wish to give public comment on any agenda items or anything they wish to talk about here tonight? Hearing none. We'll go on. General update, active projects. Chuck?
So, yeah, good evening. Thank you, Danny. So Growing Wings will likely have a pre-con next week to get that infrastructure in the ground. The curb and sidewalk
Oh,
improvement.
sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. So we were finished with all that study that we commissioned for the stone in there. And everything was good, ended up being cobblestone and we were good to go.
We approved the bid award based on,
Yeah, it looks like based on the geotechnical stuff,
Okay.
it's Cabo.
Perfect. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope.
what's the expected completion in the contract for that project?
Oh, it's not gonna take them that long. It's probably the end of September or October, they're not gonna get online until, they're not gonna need any utilities till next spring, so the buildings won't be.
They're gonna start this fall
That's-
with, site work and stuff like that, I'm assuming,
Yeah,
before winter. I mean, are they gonna get it closed up, or is it gonna be something where it's gonna be tabled until spring?
I'm assuming, I don't know if you have the latest and greatest schedule, but I'm assuming they'll get the foundation down and everything, so they can work on it over the winter. That's what their goal is.
Okay. Same thing with sidewalk and improvements. Was there any expected completion in the bid being let?
September 1st,
September 15th is final, is it?
7th,
7th?
one of those two.
And then, so they,
7th or 15th?
I go back and look real
Oh,
quick.
okay.
and then the notice to proceed that's been signed, and so we expect them to start, towards the end of the month.
Substantial completion September 2nd, final completion is 15th.
That second matches up with the bridge.
So plan is to have all that buttoned up and then restoration work to occur.
So traffic will be flowing through there and curbs will be done.
Yes.
The emphasis is gonna be placed on the road work and the intersection, and then they can jump onto curb, gutter, and sidewalk improvements. on the side
Landscaping and
streets,
those kinds of
so it
stuff.
doesn't impede traffic. That's the last thing we need to happen is have the bridge open and they're trying to mill an overlay
Yep, agreed.
in front of holiday.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that that's probably the question I get the most from John Q. Public is when will that bridge be done? And yeah, I keep on saying September 2nd, so.
Yeah, and it's, that's, the bridge will be open, the utility work, will linger on that underneath the bridge.
And that's exactly what I say. I go, the road, you'll be able to drive through, work will still be going on, but you'll be able to make it through there,
Yeah,
at least drive through.
might be slowed down a bit, but you're not going 70 miles or 11 miles.
Well, it's
an
all
hour.
gonna be kind of subject to whether or not, the rest of the roads open up too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if the intersection in Highway 35 isn't complete, but our portion is gonna be done by the 15th, right? Or 7th, second substantial, and then final by the 15th.
Mhm.
Okay,
And, people, I mean, I'm sure people are looking forward to the concrete pavement starting to be poured. And,
Yep.
So instead of slowly ripping it out, putting it back together, so
Right.
we're getting close to that phase.
well, you got a bunch of work gonna happen right over here. That's gonna close that intersection down, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Is there a detour?
well, I mean, it's, no, it won't, it'll be built
Under traffic.
It'll be built into
It'll be under
traffic.
traffic,
They'll close down
Okay.
that portion or, they're,
Flag it if
when
they
they,
have to. or-
the right, with the turn lane and everything, they're gonna be, busy on that portion of that
Right.
leg of the road there.
Okay.
And substantial completion means just like that, it's substantially done. So we want to see all the work being done and then they give them some time for the restoration,
Punch
patching
list and stuff.
patching back the yards and,
Replacing a curb that maybe cracked or
Yeah.
something. That should move.
Okay.
Thanks for catching that public participation plan. Didn't need to go through this committee. It was a brain fart on my end. Main Street Bridge and Utility, they're working on the west side, east side next week, so they're moving.
Will they have one side open for pedestrian traffic anytime soon?
I wouldn't anticipate that, they just have to keep using that bridge, just because
So they're
of
not,
all their work and the hazard, and, they'll still have that utility on the underneath
Yeah.
and things like that.
that's one of the other questions I might ask is when that pedestrian portion is gonna be open. I didn't know if they were gonna finish
I
like
can-
half of it and then start working the other half, or they're gonna do one side, then the other side, what the
That's what they're
real,
gonna
what
do.
the
They're gonna do.
one side
They'll do
total.
the
and
west
then-
abutment and then they'll do the east abutment type of thing.
Okay, so we're mid to August, something like that, we would be looking to open that back.
No, I don't know.
they're done with this side. So they're started on.
They haven't backfilled it yet, right?
They have not backfilled it, but they're waiting for that
That's, yeah,
cure time on it.
right.
Yeah, if you guys know, if we'll be able to get foot traffic over there before car traffic, just let us know, because that'd be great,
Well,
because,
Good update tomorrow. We have a status meeting with the Lunda folks.
Okay.
yeah, I know just having the foot traffic be able to being able to go over the bridge is
Oh,
huge, because I
Agree.
parked over there,
Here,
and I
here.
just walked across.
So, yeah, and maybe, specifically maybe,
Well,
with
your
the
updates.
utility works on the north side there, so.
Your commitment.
See if we can't do the south, see how soon we can get the south side.
Yeah, maybe just have the conversation with them, if it
Yeah.
doesn't increase costs or anything like that, or isn't increase, obviously it doesn't change the timeline, if it's something that they can do, just have the conversation.
So I would imagine within a couple of weeks, they'll have both of those abutment done, and then it's just a waiting game for the sewer and water below.
Could you put that in your updates? You got weekly updates going on and just kind of, let us know when they anticipated if they have that conversation.
Yeah.
And that way we can point them in the direction of looking online or notice on Facebook or whatever to watch for updates in that regards.
Sure.
Yeah, because right now my update is just dropping my kid off and it's like, oh, bridge's up. Can't make it up to Dairy Queen.
That's
right. Old fashioned way.
Any update? Just had a note to myself here. Yeah, we've got a wastewater. They up in front of you tonight. We talked a little bit about Churchill already.
Paving is the 19th.
So sorry to go for the wastewater, so with that temporary electric system installed, does that mean that we're able to power up the large tank? Get the, no, okay, get prepared to power up the large tank?
Temporary power is taking, removing power to put in the permanent stuff and then putting
Okay,
the
got it.
permanent power back to the new.
Because you're just taking out the big fuse boxes or the big, whatever those big boxes are down there.
Yep. Panels, yeah.
Okay,
So, we're looking at September. People the tank can use, so.
hoping with our meeting that would be better. What it last,
Yeah, I know. And as far as electrical, which I don't have a very good understanding of it, they're like, well, it's runs in a process and when they get to the tank, it's kind of one of the last pieces.
Yeah, everything needs to be in place and then the programming and the,
The biggest thing right now is we want our current process to run. Because if it doesn't, and we had our blowers not work, which almost killed our tanks, that's not good.
yeah, no, and I don't want anyone out there manually out there changing stuff.
Yeah,
or anything.
so, I mean, that's really what.
Yep.
I
No,
know,
if
I
we do it
know,
right.
I know we want to get those bacteria in there, but
Well, and also save on the transportation costs, because that every day we can save up more stuff in the tank is days that we don't have to truck it.
Right. Yep.
So, okay, thank you.
Was there, yeah, there is a substantial completion of October 13th.
yeah.
That's for that, but is there anything in regards to time on that tank?
Well, initially, we
Or
were
is
looking
that,
at,
is that considered part of substantial completion? So they'd be ahead of schedule if they got it done in September.
well, initially, they were saying we were talking July, or at least August, I thought I had heard. Yep. Late July, early August is what we were talking.
Well, I'm just asking if substantial completion is part of that tank being completed as that substantial completion.
Yeah.
Or is that a process?
no, that includes everything.
So you'd be,
It's part of it, but it might finish ahead of time, to your point.
right,
But, you know, there's so many interwoven type of things that I would plan for the 13th, and if anything gets to a point earlier, just because of all the coordination and everything else of the controls and
Yeah, we had
and all
the,
the effort that Jim has to put in down at the plant as well.
yeah, because we went down there and I had the conversation with, there was MSA was there and all the contractors were there. And I kind of said, hey, if we can get the tank going first, that would be ideal. And it was kind of like, well, if we gear it towards that, because I just kind of said that we could have cost savings and other things. And they're like, well, with that in mind, we might be able to gear towards it. So,
we'll just keep on and see what happens.
well, it sounds like it came back and it's,
There's been a lot more, I would say, movement down there.
since then, because yeah, nothing, there were no updates last month.
Yeah, we were concerned with where Staub was at with the other jobs, that they realized, you know, it hasn't been raining out, so I don't know why I haven't been here.
Yeah.
So that's why we called that meeting.
So you have seen, all right, well,
Well, they have
something came.
they have all their electrical points, don't they? Too, was that part of it? Was,
That was what they were saying when they were waiting for something to come in, and that had come in, and that's what the electrical guy
Yeah,
said.
I think we get a delivery every day. So there's still stuff coming in. And I'm sure they're still receiving something.
They got it at their shop.
But the electricals, a lot. So,
Yeah, those, not small, there's a lot of panels in there.
basically the pay app that you'll be considering approval later on the agenda, I mean, is all just stuff
Supplies.
delivered, you know, and that's 425,000 after the 5% retainage. So, you know, we got $500,000 worth of
Supplies.
electrical supplies delivered there.
And I had sent the pictures in their packet.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep, of the panels, yep, appreciate that.
Stuff ain't cheap, is it?
No,
No, that room, that one room is
just
just,
lucky you could even get them. A lot of places you ain't even able to acquire that kind of
that
stuff.
one room's just full of them, that's the whole wall, the whole bank of them, that's all it is.
You said something about paving on the 19th on Churchill? Is that when they're going to just put first layers of bituminous down, or Or
It's concrete, everything.
they're gonna do concrete all the way up? Oh, okay. 19th of August,
It'll start
No.
Huh?
Next, this,
this week.
this
July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a couple curbs, right.
They're ahead of schedule. So no rain, they don't have much excuse not to be.
Andrew said he was a little bit behind when I asked him a question
He's
last
gonna
week.
tell you that.
Good project manager for the government.
They're waiting on concrete samples.
Right, okay.
Don't they have isn't that what that's up there for?
They gotta take a sample and analyze it to
Mhm.
make sure it's got the right aggregate. Amount, tensile strength.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, last year there was a Portland shortage. And they
Still
were
is.
really struggling,
They're still there.
especially up in the Duluth area, trying to find it from wherever. And we had a lot of concrete failures.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're fighting right now. We're doing a project with the Mille Lacs band up there, and we're telling the contractor he's gotta rip out a half-mile sidewalk, half-mile curb. It's bad news, but. So, better in the metro, so that's good news. So I digress. Let's see, what else? Wine Sap, they're still, they're excavating the pond and negotiating with the school.
So what punch list items still remain?
For the phase one?
Well, it says punch list items remain, and I've seen,
Yeah, I mean,
there was a couple punch lists, and are we down, because some stuff got off of one, right?
Yeah,
And are we down to, like, do we gotta kind of, how many items are we talking about here?
well, there's a lot of, I mean, it's mainly, a lot of it has to do with turf establishment and, some of
Sure,
that.
with some
And
things-
well, and then, the biggest elephant is that, taking down that
Utility.
hill and
Yeah.
figuring out, resolving that with the school.
Right, the utility easement and stuff, right? too.
Yep.
Did
So-
you guys have a meeting with Bob? Did you facilitate a meeting with those guys?
With who guys?
The school and
I've met with the school.
with the school and
I have,
or with them together? I thought there was talk about this. That didn't go well, by them. Can't talk about it.
not much to talk about.
Okay, all right.
It was basically over that utility easement
Yep,
that they need for the
didn't
overflow.
go nowhere.
Hasn't gone anywhere. So, there's. Here's a punch list. It's clean storm inlet protection inlet. Inlet,
Just for the first phase?
Yeah, we're talking phase one, right?
clean all storm inlet protection, install inlet protection and remaining catch basins. Complete grading and restoration after utility relocation work. The north side of Bruce Larson. The school, they completed that. Complete all grading and restoration work in the first edition as shown on the Wine Sap Prairie erosion control plan that was revised 7/21/21. Top seed and soil disturbed areas on site.
Cause like, they top seeded,
And some, and you gotta note in here, no seed yet. And no topsoil or seed yet.
We got
Install-
trees out there, though.
Install signs and barricades as shown.
we got ways to go on that punch list, right?
There's-
Yes.
And is there any anticipated, established timelines on completion of that?
No, no, until they actually, they don't know what they're doing with the school yet.
Well, I understand there's,
Contractually, yes, I mean, there's.
We're pressing them.
right,
So I have a letter drafted out to our attorney to address the owner of the development. To say, here's the developer's agreement.
right,
And you need to take more action on what you're doing,
okay.
or we're gonna take over the contract.
Is there a deadline on that? On, from utilities and from, our perspective as a village of, hey, listen, if this doesn't get completed, I mean, we're gonna be through the whole season of moving dirt and getting everything set up, and I just, a couple more months and we'll be looking at, maybe 3 more months and we'll be looking at winter.
And I don't know the answer to that, I'd have to look.
Yeah, and it's, well, like you said, it's being reviewed right now with the.
What date would you want to take it over by?
And we
In an
don't want-
ideal
we don't
world.
want to Take it over, but
What's that?
we might be forced to.
So if your hand was forced, and you needed to have it, when would you want it by?
By September first.
So you had some time to get some stuff done before,
Yeah.
before things froze up.
That makes sense. Well, they force our hand, that's all we can do.
And, you know, as far as River Hills goes, sounds like their engineer will have a backyard solution put together by the end of the week.
For River Hills.
Yeah,
And then that also had some punch list items also on it.
yeah, what's got our teeth chattering a little bit there is, you know, there's some concrete removal and replacement that needs to be done. You know, I know they're also, I think they got a price from A1 to raise the iron so they could pave it. But, you know, it's a coordination issue. And we need that curb and gut, you know, we need those things replaced. What I don't want to happen is have them raise all this iron and then all of a sudden we've got
And there's
a month out there of all these things for people to hit. you know?
Right.
So I live in that neighborhood,
Mhm.
and they started tearing out the cement roughly 2 months ago. They
Just crickets.
replaced, yep, they have, some of it they tore up, some of it they didn't. Some of it they came and poured and replaced, some of it they didn't. All the stuff they tore out, they left in big piles in some of the vacant lots. The sod they leave in piles, and the drainage tubes are left out there in piles. So they're building, I'm not sure, whoever is responsible for the development. I think they're building houses there at the same time. So right now, there's currently open spots in the sidewalk because
You know,
sidewalks can't be
just
used.
cones, right?
Yep, so sidewalks can't be used, so I bike by them every day. I think we've been more than patient. And yeah, that ridge has been in there, so I moved in there a year ago, and that ridge has been in there the whole time, and it's time.
Yeah.
So we need to get it fixed, we need to get the crap out of there, and we need to get that pavement done. Like, the houses are all filling in there, there's not gonna be that many left. So that's all I have to say about that.
And, you know, we're in contact with him on a weekly basis for asking him.
Has he been working with you?
No,
River Hills.
No.
No, doesn't seem like it.
So
Not from what I see.
there's a
I mean,
development agreement there.
there's some activity and, you know, at least they're getting that design done. And
That doesn't mean
they've gotten
anything for the
prices.
kids who are trying to play on the sidewalk.
No, I agree. I agree.
They gotta get something needs to start happening.
equally frustrating.
I'm kind of losing my, you know, people living in them areas, and I hear your frustration in other areas as well, so, you know, it needs to be really kind of from us being their representative saying they wanted to develop in these areas. If we don't put pressure on them, nobody else is going to. And
So who's
it needs to at least be some progress so that some things get completed. Otherwise, we're gonna be in the same thing next year, looking at the same kind of
The
result.
developer, Pete, is that
Yep.
the
Yeah.
guy? So we've already pulled out his permits, he can't build anymore.
You know, and we've got a paper
So
trail.
what is our, so
Well,
we
didn't you
can't
take that
hold
to the
him not
attorney?
having permits anymore. What's
You
our
kicked it
next
to the
step?
attorney already,
Yeah, I have
right?
a draft out to him.
We go after their letter of credit.
Please send that out.
So a lot of this hinged on some topo work that needed to be done, and calling their engineer, like, hey, when are you gonna get somebody out there? Well, we'll get someone out there as soon as we get some payments. Okay. So apparently,
They're already not paying the new excavator?
No, the design engineer.
Engineering.
so they paused any work, and I talked to Brian Custoviak this morning, and this week now they're going to send their field techs out to shoot grades and get the ball rolling.
And my understanding is they've done that. We should see something in the
He
next.
did, yes, he did finish that.
So you know, so we'll have that design and
I should get the design this
this week. I'm hoping-
Do we need like weekly, I know I hate to do this to you guys, and I don't know, like just weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings, do we need to have a weekly meeting specifically?
Well, if a meeting doesn't produce any results, that's my concern. Is it really, if you establish a deadline and they don't meet the deadlines, then there's recourse on our end, right?
That's,
So they're not meeting a deadline right now. Specific, this should have been done already.
we set certain parameters for them to follow, and they're not following them.
Got it, okay, so
Weekly update from them on their progress. Bob Ullman from MSA weekly says, I haven't heard, there's nothing happening, I need a progress, and it's blown up.
And,
well,
you know,
there's site
and he would
down
say,
the lot next to me, the two lots next to me on Walnut,
Pardon?
the two lots next to me were sited out, they've got stakes in them and everything. They're
So
getting
then the
ready.
next conversation is having a conversation with Tony and Brian, building inspectors, to say, here's another avenue we can take for enforcement. So, well, you're done.
Well, Tony's well aware of
Till you're
it.
finishing your stuff up, all of it.
I'm not trying to put more, I know you guys are doing what you can do. You can only, you know, but as, you know, what teeth do you need from this committee and or the, you know, that we recommend to the board that something gets addressed on this matter, because, you know, if it continues to go on like this, other developers and stuff like that are gonna be seeing that, and really the faith of the people that are coming into these areas kind of being let down a little bit by
Well, just-
not being able to uphold the word that we put forth when we approve it on the planning commission.
This isn't the, so the one thing that we do have going for us with this new one that is going in with the TID, with the new TID that's gonna be coming in, is that's not gonna be developed by the same developer.
I understand that.
But still, yeah, that leaves a lot
So
of,
to answer your question, that's what I'm waiting on, is some guidance from the attorney to give to the village before we start
So
pulling
you need us
lines
to-
and then getting some legal recourse.
Okay,
Because
well,
they're not afraid to go into litigation. And sometimes you feel like you're getting trapped and going into litigation. So I'm being extra cautious. And just making sure that our legal,
Do we need to put something on the agenda for the village board in closed session?
I don't know. If Paul will have anything.
when did you?
Well, we put him on
send-
notice.
I'm still drafting it, so I haven't gotten it to him yet. So there's a lot to put in it. Like, here's what's not been done. Here's, here's our archived conversations. So, we have sufficient proof
Got it.
and evidence to go after it. It's taken me a long time to compile everything to get out. Emails, correspondence, those types of
Those kind of
things.
things can be discussed, though, and at least guidance coming out of a closed session.
Right. So I want to make sure he's got everything.
In a week's time enough for you to get something put
Well, I hope
together?
to have it to him tomorrow,
Okay,
or maybe
so
even tonight.
maybe,
well, you want us to review it too? There's. That's,
I guess what I'm looking at is we put something from the committee to go into closed session to discuss these matters and maybe come up with some kind of recommendation out of closed session. On both of them.
With to just get the attorney, get Bob and the attorney there in the same room, we can just,
That makes sense?
or do you think we should have an answer before the?
I
We
don't
don't
know.
need a motion on that. We just ask for it to be put on the agenda, right?
So whatever. we want.
yeah, we've been on a weekly basis, been requesting a schedule, and then Bob's been saying, this is what you told me last week, this is what actually happened,
Yeah, well, you're just chasing your tail. Your wheels are in the mud and they're just spinning.
And, and meanwhile, he's just racking up more bills of ours, needlessly, that he's gonna have to pay.
Well, thanks for your report.
Yeah, any other questions for me, guys?
That's all I have.
No, I have no more. Unfinished business? Sewer rate study.
So, you'll receive the spreadsheet I gave to you, so it has the increase. What we were trying to get to is that, like a $32,000 amount. So what we did was, because that's where we start seeing a deficit, and that's where Ellers was kind of pointing us in that direction. So taking into consideration a bunch of things that they don't do in their calculations, such as, you know, population increases and any commercial folks we have. We have 135 houses slated. We have Growing Wings slated. We have, you know, a potentially big apartment complex coming in town.
Does each one of them have their separate meters?
They don't,
Huh?
but they don't.
They just got one big one, right?
No, they do. Take that back. I did ask them that question. They do have separate meters.
Will that be something that is ordinance driven?
No,
Or it's
No,
all
it's a
part of the,
preference.
it's all part of the planning commission's approval thing?
it's a preference. So they could have.
So they
one
could
master
put it in
meter.
as put one, or they could put it in a 12-plex of putting 12, right?
Right.
Okay, but it's submitted to the planning commission based on what their design is, right?
Yeah, that's. a
Planning
bunch.
commission could kick it back saying, we don't want to see one big one, we want,
12. I don't know if they're given the leverage to do that.
okay?
They could advise it or recommend doing it a certain way.
Generally, they want to pass it on to their residents, you know,
Yeah, so it's, they can charge them precisely instead of.
and, yeah, precisely, it's easier for them.
Well, it's all cost, you know, they could try, you know, it all depends on usage and all that kind. They got bean counters to figure out which way they want to go on. They go big or they can go small, yeah, I've seen them go both ways, depending on cost in an area that, you know, all of that. So that's all I was asking about it. And
Works
then,
out better for us, doesn't it? Because the meter, per meter we charge more. Yeah.
the size of meters too,
Yeah,
really.
there's more expense in our end, but it all comes back pretty quick. So taking all those things into consideration, that does help us quite a bit.
What does this add up to about roughly like $3 a month for the average user, more or less?
50 cents a gallon, 1,000 more.
How much does this add for income to over here, just seeing, I see 62,400, right?
That's what we have currently. And with the adjustment, it's an additional
3,000 or
28
2,800, okay? So 33,600 a year.
a year, and I did round numbers, so.
Okay. And where does that, where are we gonna, that's just a 1-year deal or is this a multi,
This will stay intact.
pardon?
This will stay, yep.
For till we have to review it again? Next year, year after?
3 years?
I wouldn't say this is ever going to drop.
I'm not advocating dropping it, but I'm just saying, when is the next time we need to look at it?
So they always recommend every three
years?
years,
Okay.
because you want to adjust for inflationary reasons. And that's very, very common for municipalities to do. Simplified rate increases for water. Richmond's doing that right now. I think they do it quite frequently. Also, I did include 2 fairly local comparisons. Richmond and Baldwin.
What are we, 1 inch? Are we 1 inch tables?
3/4.
3/4. 5/8.
Well,
Same.
meter size is 5/8.
Yeah, 3/4, 5/8. They're interchangeable. Let's just go.
Oh, it's the same number in here anyways. Yeah, honestly, I don't know how we don't just have a standard 2% raise in there every year, because I don't know how costs go up all the time. Like people costs go up
it's easier, so you don't have to have those big step
Yeah.
increases. You know, people understand inflationary. things.
Yeah, I don't know how we do, I don't understand, I really don't understand how we don't,
It's nickel and diming people
right?
versus,
But it's also
Here's-
budgetary aspect of it.
absolutely.
You know, if a guy says,
So, It's
I know-
14 cents, okay.
if a guy knows that next year it's going to $9.75, and the next year after that, it's going to $10, right? At least he could say, I know what my next 3 years is versus, okay, I know what it is now, and all of a sudden we come back and go, wait a minute, we gotta change it, right? That's, you know, because we're in the hole, or we have a project that we gotta pay for.
And we can do it off consumer price index every year too, if we wanted.
No, I think, based on what Ellers came back with initially, and the task that you were provided, I think came back very good. I think you, Jim, did a good job crunching these numbers. Especially, you know, when they were talking, we're gonna have to do 10% raise, back-to-back years. And we come in, I think this is more around like the 3 to 5% range.
4.5%
4.5%
4.5 on the rate,
on,
20% on the fixed charge.
yeah, okay, that's how we did it.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you went to $9.50, I'm not a big proponent of the, you know, the meter, you know, having a meter hooked up if a guy's not using it, you know, if they use the water, you know, you can kind of make the argument, well, you can moderate your usage, right? In order to control your costs. So if your cost was a little bit, you know, fixed more on the meter, and if your rate was a little bit higher on the cost wise, people would be more apt to decide whether or not they, you know, they're gonna need to use that water or, you know, make a claim like if they're watering their lawns, that there's a difference there, right? For, it's not going into the sewer, right? If you were to change that to $9.50 and $9.75 and 10, and then going to 64 to 11.75, 12 and 12.25 over 3 years.
Okay.
What kind of, can you run them numbers back to us and see what that was gonna generate?
9.50 instead of 10.79.
Right, 9.50, 9.75 and 10
On the fixed rate
on the fixed rate, yeah. So, after 3 years, it'll be at $10.
and nothing after the rate.
On the rate would go from 11.14 to 11.75. And then to 12. And then 12.25. And see if that accomplishes what we need to over the next 3 years and kind of get us, because it's not gonna be quite at 4% per se. It's gonna be but it's gonna index a little bit more over 3 years. And that's less than 2% on the total. And going 25 cents and a quarter on the meter.
I see what you're saying.
So you're indexing 2%, kind of getting where you're needing to be, but also if a guy leaves for the winter, right?
Florida,
Yeah, to Florida, you know, for a month at a time. He doesn't have to pay, you know, I'm just looking at like guys going to Arizona and stuff like that, they don't have to fork out extra couple bucks for having or having to determine whether or not, oh, should we have it disconnected because we're gonna be gone for 6 months and then reconnected and paying that extra cost, and having to juggle that whole deal.
So you wanna do that increase over the next 3 years, you're
So
saying?
that's what I'm saying, is
Okay.
it's because we're not getting to we're not getting to that fixed rate. We're keeping the fixed rate lower, and it kind of comes in place a little bit more with Baldwin, I'm just noticing here.
But even when,
Baldwin's residential cost is at $11.60 a gallon and will be at $12.25 after 3 years. But they're at $20 for their sewer rate per month.
but so are you saying if someone takes off for the winter then they don't pay for their water meter?
No, they'd be paying
No,
for their
no,
water
just-
meter. They just wouldn't be paying $12 for their water meter. They're only paying 10.
Yeah, he's putting it more on the usage.
You see what I
as a-
mean?
The usage as opposed to the fixed asset of having the meters, which I can do, any way you slice it. I'm cool, I'm good either way, because I feel like a lot more houses seem to be getting 2 meters. I know every house up by me has, sprinklers, so they get 2 meters right away, so.
Yeah. Pretty much any new construction, they
Just
have
get-
2 meters right away.
Capstone for sure, not so much, all the gateways, right?
Not overing.
They pretty much are,
Are they now?
yeah.
Okay.
2, but Overing is 1.
Well, New Richmond's quite a bit more volume. I think they can keep their prices down a little bit farther. So I noticed they're at 9 and 11 and we're at, 892, we'd be going to 950, which is slightly over them. But their per gallon is 716, which is substantially lower than ours.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that's because it's volume driven.
Well, they probably have a lot more business over there.
Their rigs are starting now to climb,
Are they?
I mean,
Can you,
we're all seeing.
I'm just
Putting
proposing
a
that
million gallons
as a
in the air.
spitball to kind of get in the middle on that, which if we could take a look at
I'm
it.
happy to do that, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, if it accomplishes our goals and we're
I'm
able to,
interested to see what it looks like too, so, good.
are you okay with them numbers a little bit?
yeah, I like it. I think, I'm good with these, but I think your approach, of a gradual
Well,
increase and then putting it on the.
I just don't want the next person that comes in here having to deal with it.
Yeah, no, I think either way I'm good with, but I like, your strategies a little bit more,
So we're leaving it.
We still haven't accomplished 10%, even in 3 years
yeah, either.
on my proposal. And that from what Ellers was asking for is 10% and another 10. So I think I'd like to see what that kind of dials in at. Because I don't see, we got it estimated per gallon of 4,000 gallons per month, but that's average.
Per 1,400.
It's a number they like to use. I don't know if it's,
Is that what our average is?
I don't know if it's unique to us or if it's just the way they do their
Right.
calculations.
So we're not really
On a
kind of,
national basis,
I'm kind of curious, what is our average? Do we have that information? Our average usage?
I could probably figure out how to get to that.
on a residential,
The DNR report, yeah.
Was this residential only?
no,
This is on everybody.
that's what throws it up for. That's so you add Preco in, that uses 1 million gallons of water a month
Right?
or more, so then it's like, oh,
Right through that.
I don't know, what is the average use or residential house, maybe 6 to 8,000?
mine was
4.
2 to 3
Mine was 4,
by myself.
and I was bitching about it at 4. Just because it shut the water off. Oh, you're crunching your
Quit
teeth, you
using so
know?
much water.
That's all I was,
Brandon, what's yours? You got a house of.
I know my bill has gone up because I've been watering, because it's been dry, but my bill is like, it was like 270. So my usage was,
That was fine.
my neighbor's is pretty high too, yeah, I think his was 280 and he's got another meter.
Listen, we gotta keep rolling. here.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
If we can get them
The
numbers
white
back
fields
and
those.
talk about it maybe a little bit more at the village board, I mean, we keep this to the board. If them numbers,
Sure.
kind of fall in line where you're at, and if you're okay with that, Brandon. I mean,
Yeah, I like it.
If it comes in at that, I mean, at least we can have a discussion about it, and if they wanna push back at it at the village board meeting, we could.
Well, if we can step it in over 3 years and actually get a little bit more. So yeah, like we say, the next guy doesn't have to, it ain't like pulling teeth to have to raise it a little bit.
Well, we're all getting caught with everything, so that's why I said with the inflation and stuff like that, but I want to see it tip it a little bit towards usage more than just standard cost.
Sure.
So Brenda Forrest, like 87-ish for her water bill.
Pardon?
Brenda said 87-ish for her water bill.
We go through a lot of water.
But I'm curious to see how much, what our sewer,
average.
what our sewer charge is based on, you know, how many gallons total based, and then we can divide it on 1,400 residents, right? 1387, I believe, wasn't it? 1386 or 1387.
We rounded up.
Over.
That's
Next
my-
thing on the item is streetlights quotes.
Not just the water.
Streetlights quotes.
You don't have it in there. 12
It was the same one that we had before, right?
12,100. We have the fixtures that you were questioning, so, village supply fixtures, we don't have to buy those, we already did. So that's the quote for that. Do we have the funds to do that? No.
Last month, we made a motion that you guys were going to handle the first two on that in-house.
Village park light and put a flag.
Right. So then we were down to only like, I think 7,000 is what the. Because you had mentioned that we can handle them two in-house, so Caleb moved to have you guys handle them two in-house. And then it was really, we tabled the others to discussion to figure out whether or not there was gonna be additional cost to that amount. By God, I thought I had it in my notes here
Well, it was on the minutes,
of the total amount.
not the amount, but
Right.
for the handling one and two.
Right, but that I seen, I'm just looking for the amount in the, oh, there it is. All right, do it. So we're looking 3420 and 2553 and 1363, right? $7,336. I think what you were saying about Village Park is I think that was a flagpole, that you were looking at different options to accomplish that, right? And right now you pulled the flag down,
Mhm.
right? So I don't know if we're necessarily gonna move forward with that project, but we gave it to you guys to work on, okay?
Yeah.
So really the issue is the retrofit streetlights, and that's to get everything symmetrical, is that right? That it all matches? And we have the stuff here to do it? And get everything to LED?
We don't have the funds. Is it a budgeted item? The answer would be no. So that's part of my concern. I
Okay,
do not,
Well, how much money they make at the Somerset United?
well, that's something you can definitely request of them, I mean, but I'm saying, what can we budget out on this, because I know we have some money in budget on that
there's our,
cap end.
we're tight as, if we come under budget or at budget, be happy. But like I said, things cost a lot more than they,
And we're still not even close to done with the
Really?
bridge yet. The stuff could pop up on the bridge, I'm sure, right?
well, that's not so much, but no, my streets stuff is.
Any of this possible to come out of TID money? Because it's on TID, in the district.
Like 2 of them, 3 of them, maybe.
Well, I didn't know these ones here are going to be part of this proposal.
They would be.
Okay, so there'd be more than 2 or 3 there, because that goes all the way up to almost to Kennedy's, right?
So, yeah, pretty much.
So we'd just be talking about past there, up around the corner, right?
It would be just, it would stop at basically the pizza plant.
But you could
Okay.
use TID money for that?
You can,
It's a good idea.
It'd be nice to get them all to match. Can you look at that and see if there might be some way we can put something together for discussion with the village board on it?
can,
Well, then obviously make sure we get that stuff for the attorney, that the attorney
So that's gonna take away from something else. I just want you guys to be aware of that.
Yeah, no, that's why,
So if there's a complaint about a street's not getting fixed, then this is why I have a little bit of level of concern about it. Because we still have earmarked work yet to do.
you're saying as far as money or as far as preparing a proposal for us?
Well, we approved some of our bids that come in pretty, on the lower side of that. You wanted us to approve $80,000 to remove that deal. So where'd that money come from?
So this is operational funds,
Okay.
not like debt service.
Sure.
So this is our operating funds. This will come out of.
Well, you could put it under debt service, right?
I don't think so.
But the 80,000, if the board approved it, as part of their, upbeating or, improving. Well, first off, we gotta figure out how much, if we can use TID funds for it. And what that's gonna, drive that number down, because then there might be an opportunity we can talk to Somerset United about offsetting some
Well,
of
I
those
think what
costs.
you were saying was trying to sneak it, you're saying you're trying to sneak in changing the lights with the bridge stuff?
Well, there's TID monies that can be utilized towards
Yeah,
that.
I get the TID part, but it sounded like you were alluding to that the $85,000 that we're gonna use to replace that intersection could be used to replace lights.
To remove the island.
Yeah, no, and that can't, I don't think that can be done since that was part of the bridge project and it's.
Well, no, that was a separate bid. That was, and that's, if that was,
Part of the debt service for
and
that.
that's what I'm saying. I didn't know if that could be incorporated debt service, but I think,
Oh,
I think
probably too
looking,
late.
looking at it creatively, we can figure out some way to maybe, being able to address this in one way, shape or form. If there's half of that money is coming out for TID, out of TID funds, and there's money in TID that we can utilize for that, then the other money, we can figure out how we can maybe raise it, right?
But if we can't get them all to match at once, is it worth doing? Well,
Well, that's why I said we can still talk about it
yeah.
until we.
Or if you budgeted next year.
Yeah, if we could use TID funds for it and it doesn't take away from something that we find more valuable, that could be spent to TID.
I'll look, but I just don't want this getting thrown back at me. I'm gonna just go on the record and say that, okay?
No, we're not. It's not good. Just see what we can do.
Would you,
Want to go on record to say, don't throw it back at me if we.
no, we're not pushing it, and we're just trying to figure out how we can get it to
Yeah.
work.
Just see if the mechanism, if the levers.
There's creative ways of making everything work, right? Update improvements or parks and walkthrough. Did you guys get a chance to do anything on that?
I did, I sent, excuse me, I sent some photos and some feedback on the Joe Casey part to Neil and I copied Bob. I just sent it today, so.
Got it.
Who's Joe Casey?
He was the former president of Somerset Bank
Oh,
for several years,
Okay,
many decades.
we should get him a new sign.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did River Hills. It wasn't a lot. What about the path? Are we gonna connect that path up there, the road someday eventually? Is that all in with the TAP grant stuff? Fantastic. So I'll try and get to the Whispering Pines Park. Maybe next week.
Good.
Something like that.
we're still waiting for, did they have champions ever get with you? I know that, okay. Let's see if I can get something rolling on that. Tax management, I think that was covered in your report. That if you're looking at, you think you might have something by next month?
You talked to JP, though?
I think next month's doable. It's just, he needs to get together with you and make sure that you have a common understanding.
Yeah, we did that.
Did you?
Yeah, I said, design it and then give it. So
Okay.
let's go that route. So he was asking me a bunch of questions and my responses were, I don't know. And I says, how about you?
Oh, that's right,
Make it
because there's a
educated.
whole laundry list thing, and
So
that's
how about
right,
you
that's
take an
right.
educated guess and
Yeah,
we'll go from there.
Mhm.
Because this is gonna take a long time for, you know,
yeah, you
because
know,
he's sensible in that way to make stuff
Sure.
You know, and
Well, you said a couple weeks in your report, and so
Yeah.
it's fair to say by, maybe we have a pretty good idea by next month that.
Yeah, I would think so, next one.
Good.
And then, I don't know, do we want? You know, and he, I'm sure I could get him here to give a demonstration for this,
yeah, you did say that.
so.
That'd be a great idea.
Is that a public works thing or a board thing? Or,
Probably a village board. Because it.
Well, the board approved it, so I would say it doesn't need to come to this committee.
It goes outside of public works.
Yeah.
so if you know, maybe we could pencil that in for August?
Yep, look at her, but,
For the board.
look at her,
Yeah,
or tentative agenda.
yeah, you know, unless you've got a, 3-page agenda, might not want that, but,
We're not as long as they work last 2 months.
why do you say things like that?
I'm glad
Okay.
not as long.
So in August, tentatively in August, conditioned on the movement of going forward on that, right?
Mhm.
New business. Internet service providers.
Yeah, so I put this on the agenda. Obviously, I live in town, I have the one internet service provider I can have, and I've had just some of my personal experiences since I moved in. Have been getting internet, new home is burdensome, very expensive. They charge you roughly $500 to lay the cord down. They leave the internet cord out for months on end without burying it. So I did a little digging, and the average American pays anywhere from $35 to $61 for the internet. Average internet speeds in America, I pay around $90 for mine. Average speeds in America are 99.3 megabytes per second. I think ours is roughly around like 10, something like that. So we have slow internet, it's really expensive. And I also believe that homes should have internet when they move in. I think it should be treated as a utility, because many homes, people, when they move in, kids have to go to school, people have to go to work. So I think we should change the way we look at that. So in that vein, and I've seen that we actually have some literature provided here that I really like for municipal broadband. I actually had a conversation with Chuck here, and he said they do need studies for those types of things. Is it a need study? But
Yeah, we partner with a specialty firm or whatever that does wetland. I want to say the county was doing something countywide a couple years ago.
Yeah, because you guys are doing it for it.
We get involved in that one? Okay, see.
So
My question is this,
So I just had one last thing on your start on just, so 17 states have banned
And that's.
municipalities from actually having municipal broadband because of lobbying on parts of internet service providers and things of that nature. So that just leads me down the path even more of saying like why, or maybe we should explore this.
well, I totally agree with you. I mean, this is something that I've looked at, and I actually was one that was looking into this literature, and I asked if I could put that in, yeah, because the state has gotten some funding from the federal government, but my bigger question is, and maybe it's more to the municipality, Northwest Communications and anything else, is that they're able to get fiber in areas that you can't get fiber in town for. And why are rural areas getting fiber and have high internet speeds, and everyone in town that is still under the old, cable or now I pay $67 a month. Well, I got the old system yet, and I got a line, huh?
You have DSL,
DSL, yeah.
and you can't get cable
And,
internet.
well, yeah, for an extreme high price. And that's what I'm saying, it's almost 50% more. And to get a cable, and I wouldn't be getting much more in my internet speeds.
Have you asked?
Yeah,
And they said we don't have it available,
what, fiber?
cable.
Yes, yes, I did say on cable, I can get cable
Okay.
at 50% more in cost. and my internet speeds will not be the same. My internet speeds are, like he said, is only gonna be at 10 megabytes. Well, I'm at 5.5 right now. I don't have enough draw that it would warrant me paying 50% more to get, double the speed. That being said, there is a feasibility study or study that needs to be done. What would that cost? And is there a possibility? I mean, if you're gonna be moving towards any kind of business-friendly area, you'd wanna have that broadband type, that's one of the things they look at is what's their septic like, what's their capability of handling, technical, advances in their area. And we got fiber on that side of town, but we have in certain areas, we don't have that. And I don't see why we can't, in the Twin Cities, and they got multiple companies that do business in town.
I'd like to pull this in under the umbrella of Public Works. I'd like this to be a utility. I think it should be treated as such, like we are 21st century, like internet needs to be treated the same as sewer and water. Like you need to have it to run a business. Everyone has it in their home. People have to have it for their fridge and their garage door. Like we need to get ahead of this. I think we need to do something not only for ourselves, but for our residents. So we're coming to you guys, we're asking, what can we do? Is there anything we can do?
Give me an opportunity to have that conversation with Chuck. And now I know that what you're asking.
Cause I'm willing to run this as a pass-through. We can run this as a pass-through business. If we have to hire someone else and run it out of down there, and if that's what we need to do to get better internet, then.
Well, the state offers, there's grants and or, other opportunities, to municipalities towards what you're trying to achieve. I think it'd be a good thing maybe to reach out to or have that discussion with other municipalities as far as what they do in order to make that happen.
I've looked up multiple ones on when I started researching this.
Okay.
I could probably reach out to where I imagine they just call the internet person there, ask how it went. Everything I've researched is it seems to
Is it
drive down
municipality
costs.
driven or is it, do they have just competition and multiple companies in town? Because people move into town and, okay, what's the internet providers that we have in town? One.
Yeah.
We can't even get Hughes and, a satellite and we struggle with something, that people struggle to have.
So
them,
in a lot of those cases, what happens is they end up dropping their price. The one, there's only the one service provider and they're forced to compete with the municipal broadband. What they do is they drop their prices and their quality ends up going up. Because right now, who else are you gonna go to? They don't have to provide you good service.
The big thing is, the utilities, you need to make sure if you do have other companies that are gonna start, entertaining the fact of bringing broadband and stuff like that in, they're gonna be asking for utility easements and so on and so forth to get into, accessing these properties and so on and so forth, or piggybacking a lot of that. That's what a lot of that article had to do with is, utility easements and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because we probably could have done a lot of it on that. Are they doing any internet underneath the road as they're laying it?
No, it's just replacing it.
Sewer, water.
But yeah, we'll come out, in a month, we'll come on with all kinds of information. I'll talk to some of our broadband people, Bob and I'll put our heads together.
Okay, because this is one of the issues besides roads, is internet that I hear from everyone all the time. Well, and then power, but I'm gonna call Excel Energy on that one. I don't know. I'm gonna help on that one. So that was all I had on that.
And getting more information and having a conversation, it'd be nice to get some kind of a potential either, especially if there's an opportunity where we can tap a grant or something on that lines to at least gets faster speeds in downtown as well as, because they say fiber is fabulous. I don't know what the cost of fiber is, because it's not offered by me. So
Can we set the goal to have something for the next Public Works meeting that possibly we could have for discussion and sent to the board? Something, maybe is that a lofty goal? So a month a month from now and then the following board meeting, or really more or less a month from now, something that we could move on. I think that's kind of,
So just, you're saying discussion in August, possible recommendation to the board in September?
Well, possible recommendation in August is what he's saying.
I
yeah,
think that's a tight time frame.
yeah,
Well, we can see what we can do.
I think that's pretty ambitious.
Well, hey, if you can, if you can achieve the goals of this committee, Chuck, I'm all about that.
No, but I mean, at least what the next step is, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
at
you
least to
want.
like if we need to.
So we
have a
keep pushing the ball up the
Commission a
hill.
study, or
Yeah,
I wanna keep moving on this.
sure.
No, I agree. I agree. It's something, if you're gonna take Somerset into the next, you know, being a community for people to come to, they look at New Richmond, they say, you know, well, they got internet, good internet providers, 2 or 3 possible competition, you know, I'm not sure, you know, but,
Robust roads,
yeah.
sewer, all that stuff.
Hmm. Okay, so next month, you'll have something to us and for a good discussion, so we'll just put that on a table till next month for discussion on that. And pay up 11.
Yeah, so, we're looking for your consideration to recommend approval of pay application 11 in the amount of $425,742.50, and it's primarily stored materials.
Brandon Crowe make a motion to approve pay app in the amount of $425,742.50
To stop construction.
to stop construction.
Try to find that pay app here.
Yeah, Mark. There you go.
Yeah, this one's 11. Bear with me for 1 second. Where is that number?
Payment of right, the lower right. 420.
There it is, okay. Donna Kern, second that motion. Motion made second to approve pay app 425,742.50 to stop construction. Pay app 11. Any discussion? I mean, I guess we're recommending to the board, I should say. So
Yes.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and opposed, motion carried. Larry Forest Ball Field Agreement. So I got a couple questions
Okay.
about this. This was a product of conversations between the school district and us?
The athletic director and myself.
Pardon?
The athletic director.
Okay. So
Correct.
the ball fields are in question, are all of the ball fields, right? Or is it only specific ones
Larry Forrest, the ones that they use.
at Larry Forest? They're all accessible by anybody during, by anyone during park open hours?
Yep.
Unless they're being utilized by them, right?
Mhm.
They get precedent over that?
They have a schedule just like youth baseball.
Sure.
Youth baseball goes on a schedule.
Who runs that? I mean, is that, do they, huh?
They set the schedule, we put it in the calendar, we set the practices, we set all those things.
So they run it through
Neil,
the village
the parks.
parks through Neil, okay. So what is Neil's official title? Is he just
Parks coordinator.
Parks coordinator? So schedule should be set between parks coordinator, right?
Yeah,
And that should probably be in here, right?
I don't have it in here, but I can put it in.
Yeah, I'm just, and then the other question I had, contracted work for improvements of fields and facilities under number 6, where you got mutually agreed to, shouldn't it be approved by the village pursuant to our ordinance? We got an ordinance that everything that gets done needs to be approved by the village board prior to moving forward.
So we want some sod cut out.
No, it's that contracted work.
It's gotta be contracted because what's happening is we're having amateur hour people doing things to the fields that come back and.
Right.
You shouldn't have done that.
Right. And that was the reason for the
So
ordinance.
that's not constructing it though, that's just improvements, oh, I guess.
But
improvements of
that
field.
was part of the ordinance that we approved, is that anybody doing work needs to be approved by the village board
Okay.
before then. I thought that was part of the reason for that. I mean, unless we change the ordinance. Or do you want it approved by, Parks Coordinator? I mean, anything needs to be done, needs to be kind of run through the Parks Coordinator, right? For maintenance wise.
Mhm.
On number two, this signs, advertising placards, I do believe that they can store them. If they're their placards, right?
Yep.
What's the reason for, I propose that we eliminate number three and we just have them store them, what erecting, advertising and removal and storage will be a responsibility of school district. We don't receive any, they generate the income on that. Are you okay with something like that?
I mean, I wouldn't wanna keep them there if they were my signs, I don't know if I'd wanna keep them down there, we don't have a whole bunch.
So they go above the office and the mezzanine. We can't really.
Oh, okay,
With weight up there.
yeah, that's where they go.
But I
guess if
mean,
they
they
put
can
them-
put them, they got storage at the school too.
Okay.
I don't think it's a big deal if they go above, they're putting them above the office, it's dead space anyways, there's nothing up there.
Well, they put them up there or we put them up there?
The
Because they're,
school district will be responsible for delivery and pickup of the placards to the public works maintenance garage.
Sounds like they put them up there.
So we don't handle them.
say that again?
It's right in there, number 3. On the second page.
Yeah,
They'll deliver and pick them up.
I think we can do them a solid and have them put them up above the office.
Well, your question too, that you had raised about, the $10 per participant for use on it. How is that generated? I didn't even know there was such a thing.
It's $10 user fee per participant. that we-
Per game, per year, per
Season.
month, per season?
Oh, that's rolled into your cost whenever
So
you,
it's supposed to reimburse our costs for dragging the fields.
no, but, so when an athlete registers to play baseball, they have to pay a fee, and part of that, every kid pays $10 and it goes to the village. So, okay,
Which doesn't cover our costs.
yeah, I would imagine $10 per kid would.
Well, if you got 15 kids on a team, that's $150.
Yeah, don't cover the costs, I don't think, we don't have near enough kids, and we don't have enough kids in the school.
And that's just, I didn't know that's a one-time fee.
Well, I think that's part of something we should probably keep it.
But that's
so
what
kids can
everybody
play
that does over there, do they have to fill something out, or how does that work, that Neil?
They handle it through the league and the school. And then it's in our ordinance as well.
Yeah, the school just collects all the money and they get it back to us.
How much income how much monies do we take in from that? I didn't see that in any revenue stream in our parks.
Oh, you won't see it in there. It's in the full budget.
It's in the full budget?
I guess,
So what are we budgeting for that then? I know.
do you want it to be more?
Like
$14.
Well, I don't want it to be, here's the thing, if there's a shared cost, really, it should be an equal shared cost. I mean, if anybody wants to go there and play, right?
I guess for me, at the micro level, I'm not gonna charge kids more than $10 to raise the price to more than $10 to have kids go play
Well,
baseball.
I understand that,
wanna keep it affordable. for
I
families.
understand that, and I'm not
Whether we
disagreeing,
make, whether we
but
make
for
money
the-
or not is.
but for the taxpayer that's spending the money to keep all of these fields, you know, the individuals are, the argument is that, well, there's, you know, people outside the town that are coming in and utilizing all of our parks at the taxpayer's expense.
Mhm.
And so that's where, you know, some of those individuals, and, you know, are utilizing the fields, and it needs to be more of a shared cost. I just wanna make sure that we're looking at that and taking that into consideration, so it's not borne unequally for, against the taxpayer versus the user.
Yeah,
That's-
I don't, yeah, I don't,
So it needs to pass a public benefit test. And field dragging doesn't fall under a public benefit, doesn't benefit anybody but the individuals playing on that field, doesn't benefit anybody.
Ah.
A jungle gym does, a bathroom does, swings do, lights do. That
So
benefits
air
everybody.
rating is the same thing. If you're dragging an air
Air
rating,
rating is of a public benefit because it goes outside of that. So
you're air rating outside the fields?
we air rate regardless,
Oh.
everything gets aerated,
Oh,
just as a turf management program.
so turf irrigation,
That's done in the fall.
huh?
That's done in the fall.
But it says it will be maintained and operating after freezing temperatures have subsided.
Yes.
So I know it's done in the fall, but it's done all year.
Aeration,
No, turf irrigation.
how often do we water the fields?
Turf aeration will be done once a year and will be at village expense.
Year.
Fertilization and pest application will be done 3 times a year at village expense. And so what is the needs of, that you were saying, meets a public needs test,
public benefit,
public benefit?
dugouts don't meet a public benefit, so we can put them up as a public benefit, but after that, if someone's requesting, if schools are requesting Taj Mahal dugouts, you know, we could contribute to that, but it's ill advised that we contribute the full amount.
So lime aggregate is a public benefit, but dragging isn't.
Correct.
What else isn't?
Any other thing that,
Anything
You're
else
dragging,
that the school
you're
is
dragging
responsible for?
1-2 times a week at least, right?
anything that would be on a special request. So fence heights, if they wanted a fence higher, well,
But like you said, I think you
Cushion
got something
seats in the
in there.
dugout, something like that.
Someday. Future structures will be constructed maintenance free, no future structure will be placed on village grounds without prior approval from village. And I put village board because of the ordinance. When necessary, building permits to be obtained, structure material will not include prone rot to decay, structures to be secured. You know, I guess, this is pretty much saying the village will take care of everything, and we need to talk about what their costs are. And for me, I was under the understanding that one of the ball fields was specifically for the high school and was not to be utilized by anybody outside of the public, because
it really isn't, because we can't move the base paths. I mean, they're not anchored, there's a lot of things that are set permanently in that
Right.
field.
but I was told that people are using it.
They use it,
So if they're using it, then, you know, then I stand corrected. But if it was solely for that purpose and it was only for that, then somebody wants to come down and say, I want to go in there and say, whoa, you can't go over there. That's for the school. Well, now I got a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's tax, you know, that was meant for everybody, right?
Everyone should be able to use it.
I think this is a good start on something, but I think I'd like to get a little more discussion probably from them with regards to, like I said, the advertisements and stuff like that. They can store that and put it out as they deem fit.
okay, across 3F,
And just put storage along with directing and advertising will be the responsibility of the school district. They put them up every year?
Yep.
Take them down every year.
well, I get on them about taking them down.
Are they supposed to?
We don't have anything written, but
Are they supposed to?
yes,
Then we should probably put it in there,
it is in there.
that they'll be taken down
Yes,
every year.
yes.
Where does it say that?
Advertisement placards shall be removed no later than 1 month after all ball leagues complete their ball seasons. This includes youth baseball and softball leagues.
What number were you on there? Sorry.
2, and then it's number 1. So advertisements, number 1.
Perfect. So what cost are we looking at here on the playing surface that we, are just looking to try to pick up on? That is not a public benefit.
Nothing really, it's just the request of lime. They scooped out some lime. Why did he do that? We just brought lime in there, so they wanted more lime. So we're not gonna get any more lime. So that's what we're trying to prevent, is surprise things that we don't, well, I wasn't anticipating putting lime up there, but if I know I gotta put lime up there 2 years, it's easy for me to budget for that.
Right.
So
And
that's
that's
what
what
I'm
we-
trying
that's
to
what-
achieve,
Okay, so
is a
maybe,
systematic approach to knowing what our expenses are gonna be on an annual basis, and so it doesn't deviate like it has been deviating.
and it deviates because other individuals are doing work that wasn't approved by
Right.
the
Right.
parks
And
coordinator?
or we just like would find out they were doing something, so that's why we're having some issues.
Do you think that this, with the exception of, like I said, scratching 3 and changing a couple things here, that this will benefit you being able to monitor that a little bit better and budget for it properly? And then what do you think is the appropriate, I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but cost wise, we need to figure out where cost wise is gonna be for that per person charge?
Mhm.
When was the last time it was ever talked about or changed or discussed?
It's been talked about, but we've just never done anything about it. Just kind of left it. So, we don't want it to become something that it's all of a sudden $50 per participant and that deters kids from.
I don't
joining
think that's the
leagues.
case at all.
But I don't think it's going to be that, but the mechanism of maybe the way it's done is instead of charging each participant, maybe we send a bill to the school, we send a bill to all leagues, youth athletics, and say, okay, you want it done 10 times, it's gonna take us a half an hour at $50 an hour, so it's $1,500 or whatever. And that,
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. What, dragging the courses does take about a half an hour per field.
Yep.
So we got 4 fields there. So it's it's an hour and a half,
they use 2.
pardon?
The school uses 2 plus Village Park, so 3.
3. So we'd be looking at 2 and 2.5 hours dragging fields.
Hour and a half.
Okay. And so that's $75. How often?
They have 10 home games, I think, last year.
Once a week?
10 home games.
Right, every game? You got an hour and a half, you said. I'm just
Times
trying,
10.
times 10, that's what I'm saying, what, for every week that they got them home games, 10 games. So that's $750.
Mhm.
What are we getting for income right now, coming in from the,
I'd have to look.
well, let's look at that.
I think it's like $1,400 total for all youth school.
But that's just one, right? That's just the 10 home games, that's not everyone.
That's just high school.
Right, so you got the association you're
That's-
dragging on.
And that's not including softball. That's just baseball alone.
Do the T-ball and coach's pitch count? Or is that-
They don't drag on that much for that kind of stuff because there's
No,
not a lot of,
they just have the Larry Forrest tournament, the end of the year tournaments up there. That's the only thing that's up there. I'm curious. We shouldn't.
you got softball, you got baseball, and then you got the other leagues, right? But the other leagues, do you drag every week on that?
Before every game.
So they could have 2 games a week at home
right, so so Neil's dragging,
before every home game.
right, I'm curious as to what it is taking hours wise, and I just, how many hours does it take per week? And when does he start and when does he finish? As far as, what week he starts, if it's, Memorial Day weekend, we start, and this is how many hours I go from Memorial Day week all the way till Labor Day.
Well,
And I got 6 hours of dragging a week, great, then you just tell me where it is,
3 to 4 hours a day.
That's kind of what I thought it was when I talked to him, but I didn't want to put words in it. So 3 hours a day, 5 days a week? Or 4
No,
days
not
a week?
necessarily. It depends.
Is it safe to say 4 days a week would be a safe number?
Okay.
That's 12 hours a week. At $50 an hour, $600.
What benefits it?
Donnie, can we table this? We gotta get other stuff we gotta get through. We got 5
Yeah.
minutes.
finances.
Well,
Yeah, we
the school still needs to, come back and
Yep,
see things.
that's fine. Public Works Department report.
Did you want the school to like have an answer today? Or no?
For what?
I told them I'd present it to committee and we'd go through it and then,
We'll have to table it to the next
We'll run
board
it
meeting.
through.
Yeah,
well, we got a little ways for,
We'll have continued conversations.
we got some numbers that we gotta get on that.
Yeah.
so. Public Works Department report. Water, sewer, park, street, storm sewer.
all included in your package.
Yep. Anything? Should we just start putting these reports out on, up for everybody to review online?
I mean, it's public information.
Yeah, right.
Is this the whole packet?
No, the report,
I mean, the whole,
Bob's report that he gets to us every
I
year.
would think the whole packet.
I guess
should
we
go in.
haven't been putting the packet on,
The packet or the updates?
Just, yeah, they update the reports,
The updates go on the website.
Do they?
Do we ever load the whole packet? Is there any reason why we couldn't load just the whole packet? There's not sensitive
I
information,
guess
it's all
we
public,
just haven't, I mean, we used to,
yeah.
and then,
That's a great idea.
kind of,
It would be nice. I'd like to get the whole packet.
That's a great idea.
well,
Well, no, you'd have
I
to
told
scan them in after the meet, I want, they'd be nice on the website, because right now you got the video, the agenda. And if you click on it, sometimes there's packets, sometimes there's, it'd be great to have all this information available for folks.
I totally agree.
And then the other thing that would be nice is that if we had it, we could put it on the screen while we're talking to. But we're getting a lot better at that. We have been getting a lot better at that.
they'll push you.
For certain things. So if we could get maybe one person's packet added in.
The reason I asked that is because you got stuff on there about the streets, bridge work and stuff like that, and those reports, that's all good for everybody that's wants to look at it. If it's being put on the website already, great.
Well, you guys
Well,
put a
and then
lot of
you-
work into these, so that's,
And then you wouldn't have to send it to me either. I could get it then.
Right.
well, this would be at the end. You'd have to put it.
You're making an emotion?
Website. Motion to,
Put the reports online.
Is that a,
do we have to make a
I
motion?
mean, it's.
I'm just asking, can you do that?
Public Works sewer and park bills. I haven't had a chance to look at them. Have you?
Yes. Brandon Crowe make a motion to approve bills as presented.
Are we
for
recommending
water,
them
sewer,
being
parks,
approved? Is
streets.
that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion made to be approved for water, sewer, park, streets, stormwater. Right, water, sewer. Sorry. water,
Second.
sewer.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay? Anything else for future agendas?
I think we got a couple there. Did you have?
Yeah, I got them.
Okay. Perfect. No, I have nothing else.
If there's nothing else, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Brandon Crowe second.
Motion made to, and second to adjourn, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned, 7 PM.
Ooh, 20 seconds already.